Goat BM, Dead Botting, some pretty common names. But other than that, I think, just going to have a good series overall. We've seen some banger professional series in the LEC and the LCS, which is, introduced some new picks. I believe Smolder is enabled, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So we could see the tiny little dragon flapping around, which, by the way, is way overtuned if any AD carries are listening and haven't played it. But as I'm talking about it, the draft has started, and Azir is the first thing taken off the table for LiT.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on that with both of these teams being longtime friends of Aegis Esports and then the previous organizations before that. Flay, though, if Flay's in the chat, or if any of you guys are Flay fans, you guys know about Dead Botting for LiT Esports. Flay thinks that he is a has-been, a washed-up goon, and expects that this is just going to be a 2-0. Flay's words. And the amount of just trash talk that he has put on to this LiT Esports roster this season has been incredible. But going into the draft really quick, the Maokai is also going to get taken away along with the Twisted Fate, the Udyr, and the Nico. Now, Septi, personally, in my opinion, both Maokai and Twisted Fate in a really good spot right now. Both of them can actually go flex at the moment. So Dorado Gaming going for those meta picks. The Nico, a little bit more of a targeted ban towards the mid lane.
Well, for the umpteenth patch in a row, Maokai is once again S tier. Which is a nightmare if you're a jungler. I feel bad for all of you, as well as the supports who are forced to play it in every scrim. But, the non-super meta picks that we see banned, I mean, I guess TF, I think they must have a read or feel that TF is just absolutely insane. But that ban makes me feel like they might even be won it should we swap sides in game number 2. But the ADTF changes have been really nice. For this champion has been, allowing crit to increase the gold. I said it before the draft. Smolder B1 coming out for LiT. You get to cast all those fun ability names there, Moose. You get to call mom. You get to do the flap, flap, flap. I don't remember what the other abilities are. I always feel like their W is a sneeze. But anyway, Smolder is a very, very strong scaling AD carry in the bot lane there, and Dorado know this, so they need to pick something that will absolutely crush it in lane. Tristana, one of those picks that definitely will take you there. Another one that comes to mind is Draven and Kalista, as picks that would definitely put Smolder on the back foot. But curious to note is that actually this Tristana is also a flex, opens up the possibility of a Brand in the jungle, maybe even an Ivern. But Rel going to be the lock for the time being, potentially. Not going to talk about hovers. But yeah, Smolder, you have to pick early game into.
Oh yeah, and I think that you talked about the scaling potential of Smolder, and it is interesting that I was talking about it with a couple of players yesterday, and there was some opportunity potentially for it to go into the mid lane, kind of flex it there, go for some AP power. But like you were talking about, most likely going to be seeing that in the bottom lane. A lot of good support pickups that you can go with it. Personally, the enchanters could work well, but I do think that you need a little bit of frontline here when you're going up against that Rel. What do you think is the best type of support to go with Smolder, as it looks like LiT Esports is going to go with the Rakan?
Well, the thing about Smolder is that with the E, the flap, 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 is pretty self-sufficient in the lane. And the build that people have been going to actually keep Smolder safe is they've been, doing a Doran's Ring, and they've just been maxing W, I believe, and just, playing for the ranged farm and the poke with that ability. And honestly, it does a great job of keeping the little dragon safe in the bot lane. Rakan going to be the pickup, though, for LiT. It is definitely one of those picks that makes you assume that they're going to go, pretty quick in their fights. Vi definitely follows that up. Smolder, definitely not. It doesn't really come online until about 20 minutes into the game. Yes, you have your tier 1 upgrade on your queue. They don't really start getting, the Walmart Elder buff until you get 225 stacks. But to answer your question about what support, I honestly think Smolder can work with either, so long as the rest of your team compensates around it. Probably going to be the final lock-in is a really nice answer to both Vi and Rakan, and Smolder also.
Yeah, indeed. And I do think that, Vi has been really been given a lot of presence here in 14.3. The cease and desist having a lot of ability to be able to get in to that backline, but it could potentially get themselves in trouble if you say go for a Tristana, for example, and then end up getting yourself way too far into the back line, and then you end up getting poked away. But we'll have to see what the rest of the lineup looks to go for. The Poppy, like we're talking about, going for some early game power in the jungle. You could potentially get some good kills and really start to snowball your team and get to that point where it's impossible for LiT Esports to then scale up to that point where Smolder is that powerful dragon that you guys are talking about. Looking at the core items, it seems like Navori Quick Blade, Essence Reaver, going for Lord Dominic's is the most common build path according to Mobalytics, but we'll see what Dead Bonding wants to go for as we get into the next phase of this draft. Darius and Camille are both going to be taken away out of the top lane. LiT is maybe looking to take away the Cassante, now hovering the Jax. Will do so as the Xayah is locked in, potentially thinking that Smolder may go to the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely breaking up the lovers duo, but I think Smolder. Well, actually, no. Here's I guess the mindset of Dog is that they pick Poppy, which is a jungle that won't really be able to punish Smolder should they decide to put it in the mid lane. And so, just as a measure to keep them safe, they've decided to take away what would be the safe AD carry option, and it looks like this Tristana is going to be going to the mid lane. I don't really like breaking the flex this early on, especially when you're playing an AD jungler as well. It seems really strange to me. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I saw Kai'Sa mid in pro recently. And I'm not entirely sure what the build path is, but she definitely offers a little bit more AP than your typical Tristana would. Vlad and Cassante gonna be the final two. LiT, they teased the Cassante ban in phase 2, decided to stay away from it. But honestly, drafting a super laking composition for this LiT Esports side, and honestly, Dorado Gaming gonna be hard pressed to actually put pressure on them. The Poppy, yes, is a decent counter engage support. Will be good to stop the Rakan and the Vi. But I mean, they have almost nothing for the Vladimir and the Cassante. They don't have, just one piece of armor is going to be more than enough for Cassante to stop this. Gonna lock in the Fiora as an answer to the Cassante, but Dorado massively lacking in AP damage. Even if this Kai'Sa was to go, an AP WMAX build, that is not, very optimal for her. And it is going to be really hard pressed for Dorado to actually make, waves in this game. I mean, this is a Dorado draft through and through. They got a hands check to win, and I think that's the win con here.
Yeah, I'm looking online to see what the build path is, and like you were talking about, very little. They're going for the Realm Spike, potentially. They're going for Storm Surge, Rabadon's Death Cap, Horizon Focus, but very inconsistent in terms of potential AP damage if you do decide to go towards that route. On the other hand, though, the siege damage is pretty intense. The split pushing, I feel like it's so 50-50 in the top lane, whether or not Cassante or Fiora is able to do well. It really determines whether or not which one of these lanes is going to get the advantage. But I don't think that it necessarily decides the outcome of the game, because the 4-stack is going to be where it's at. And like you were talking about, LiT Esports can press the R button and just obliterate Dorado Gaming's health bars. Smolder, Vi, Vladimir, and Rakan all have ways to really move around the map and make it difficult for Rel to get that big Magnet Storm, for Tristana to get those big damage hits on those explosive charges. So I'm really curious to see how Dorado Gaming navigates this, or is it potentially going to be just a draft diff here for LiT Esports Red?
It could be potentially. I'm not going to doubt Dorado players, because I mean they're where they are for a reason. They're all good players individually. Tristana is going to be the lock-in in that mid lane for Dorado, which means that this Kai'Sa is definitely not going to be going, or as easily going to be going the AP build. I don't really know how to. I mean, Dorado are going to win this by absolutely, stomping the bot lane, but when they put a scaling AD like Kai'Sa into the Smolder, that just makes it so much harder to actually guarantee the winning lane. If you had Tristana, Rel in the bot lane, you could constantly just have them double jumping forward into the Smolder, into the Rakan, and just constantly chunking them out of lane, while this Vi is forced to just sit in the bot lane permanently. And the Poppy is also fine to be low econ, which leaves your Fiora on the top side to win in what should be a winning matchup into the Cassante, as well as ideally your Kai'Sa mid to just be scaling up into the Vlad, who granted is almost impossible to gank anyway as Poppy. So the fact that this is the way they've decided to split up their lanes is a little bit concerning to me. But I think we're going to have to see more when we get into game. But Moose, it is time. It is that time of the week for the dragon game. We have the little dragon in the game. Now it's time to guess what dragon soul it is.
Well, starting off week 3, you will get first serve. Just so that you are aware, we've only seen 2 of the 6 Dragon Souls in 2 weeks of play. We have seen 2 Cloud Souls and 2 Ocean Souls. Talk about probability here.
Yeah, sample size is too small, Moose. We need more games. We need more games. But with that said, it's Snake, right? So I'll take 1, you take 2, I take 2, you take 1. All right, cool. Yeah. I will go with Hextech as the first pick in the draft.
I love it. I predicted it. I'm going to go with Mountain and Infernal, Septi.
I will go for Cloud and Ocean.
All righty, which is going to leave me with the Chemtech Drake. Gonna be a fun one for sure, guys. Appreciate your guys' patience throughout the first couple of weeks of play. It has been very traumatic for us spectators because of all the issues with the client, but it does look like things are looking on the up. So really, really good things there. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll jump into game 1 between these 2 longtime teams of the Aegis Esports cast. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Aegis Marauders League. We have LiT Esports Red versus Dorado Gaming Kai. Just want to thank our sponsors real quick before we get into this game in Coachify.gg. Aegis is sponsored by Coachify.gg for our winter split. Coachify provides tools for esports coaches to manage their teams and players while also finding new students. Click the panel located below the stream to check out their website for more information. And Moose, with all that said, we got a 5 point.
We got a
boring old 5 point.
I'm not Catholic, but I do participate in Lent each year. I give up, cannabis and alcohol and all that fun stuff and really get myself into a prime position to look good in the summertime. I think that League of Legends players should give up boring starts to games. Let's just decide the game within the first 5 minutes. Decide the game at Void Grubs. I mean, what's the harm in that?
Wow. I don't know if I can agree with that take. as someone who plays amateur myself, I would hate it if the game was decided in the first 90 seconds.
You're right. But it would be, some of these teams like to do it anyways, though. They will go for it.
Look at this top lane right here. The lane is over for Yikes.
Oh,
the lane is over. All right. Well, okay. Anyway, Yikes actually gonna stay in lane, not even use their pot after that big trade there. Both junglers going to be starting their top sides. Poppy solo starting, Vi solo starting. Both going to be heading towards this bot lane, which, I mean, as we talked about in draft, is going to be the pivotal point of this whole early game. Because keep in mind, Smolder, the magic number is 225 until further notice. It might change next patch. I hope it changes next patch, but it probably won't because Riot Games. But anyway, 225 is the number of stacks that Smolder is going to need. Rel going to go for a nice engage here. Oh my goodness.
Huge damage on the Living Phoenix. Dorado Gaming Kai getting big damage in the side lanes. Flash also expended. That's going to make that gank just a little bit easier for a Halls if they decide to go for it.
Yeah, and I thought that Living Phoenix was going to be absolutely fine once I saw that they had the shield there, the bone plating, but absolutely crushed by the Kai'Sa passive. And I know I said that Kai'Sa is not an early game champion, but with this Hail of Blades will absolutely do a number to someone if they're able to stack their passive. But looking at the map here, we see Poppy moving down, and after a big trade like that, you can see Rakan in a very dangerous place here as Kai'Sa actually takes a whole bunch of damage, so much so that I don't think this dive is viable anymore. A bit of a misplay coming out from the Dorado Gaming side.
Yeah, moving down though, Halls does have the water walking, so was able to get in. Not too much damage done, but the sides against that play will now go back to their blue buff. We've got now Ruka on the way, could potentially go for a gank bottom lane. Good trading coming in here in the mid lane, though. It's going to be GoPM getting the short end of the stick, but a gank coming up here for LiT Esports Red on the bottom side. Ruko is going to be seen by that ward, is going to be seen by multiple wards, and now this could potentially be a 3v3. Hey, I'm Scooter looking to go in against Dead Body, going to be able to get the stun, the double stun. Shield's going to come through from Living Phoenix. Knockup does not land. The Vault Breaker doesn't land. Huge damage onto Living Phoenix and Dead Body. Hey, Scooter's going to be forced in with that flash. Good crash down, and first blood is going to go to Resent on this Kai'Sa, but this play is not over. Ruko and Dead Body maybe looking to go in further, unable to get more damage, and Dorado Gaming Kai will walk away.
Yeah, I mean, very nicely done. First blood going over to Resent there, not even having to use their flash in the Kai'Sa. It looked a little bit scary. I thought Dead Body was going to go down when they stepped into the river. As Ruko, you are not allowed to be here whatsoever, my friend.
Oh dear. Oh boy, and that's just an easy kill.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a misstep from Ruko. Once you get the wave pushed out, you just cannot even walk into that river there. You know that you're 3 versus 2 in that instance, and at best, you're getting massively chunked out, and at worst, as we just saw there, you're going down in the jungle there. Yeah, second blood going to be picked up by Poppy, picking up that Bomby Cinder, so not going to be going for a more damage heavy build. As we see, Halls is going to try and path up rather to these grubs that are spawning in 10 seconds time, but Ruko already here looking for this topside scuttle crab, and with the push in top lane might have the first move to these grubs.
Yeah, and I mean, shout out to Yikes for not having too bad of a start in terms of experience. Did lose out on a lot of CS for not backing after taking a huge amount of damage there at level 1, but has been able to stay consistent in terms of levels with HTK both at 5, but a little slight advantage in CS for HTK. Ruko now going to go towards those Void Grubs. They are not the easiest things to get, but it does look like it will be an objective trade with Dorado Gaming Kai going down to the bottom side of the rift. I don't know if either team knows this, but they have to assume that each one of these junglers are going for the other objective.
Yeah, and this is sort of to be expected, right? We talked about, early game dominance for the Dorado Gaming side here in the bot lane. And so naturally trading grubs for Dragon will be the play. Now, curious to see if these junglers decide to actually walk into each other's red side jungle. It seems as though Ruko is going to have the first move to those chickens. And honestly, it could be really disastrous for Halls if they decide to take these wolves and go up towards the top side, because it'll just mean that Ruko gains, a massive camp advantage while still having the entire map on their side to go. And it looks like Halls actually will be going a little bit late to their top side. And with HDK recalling... Oh, never mind. Scrap everything that I just said there. Halls is going to get their Krugs, but it is going to be still a camp lead and a massive XP lead for Ruko in this game. So much so that by the time they finish their clear and get to the bot side, they will have level 6 and could be primed to go for either a kill onto Resent or a kill onto Severed, depending on where they are in the on the map.
GoPM also going to put a ward on their Raptors just to make sure that Halls isn't going for some sort of counter jungle of themselves. Hex Flash could be available for Halls, going to go in with it. Yikes has very little mana and is going to maybe have to go for this ult again. HTK will have to maybe go all in. Got the ultimates dropped by HTK as well. The grand challenge is there, and that was not as climactic as I thought it was going to be. HTK will take an easy 300.
Yeah, Yikes' wave was kind of in the worst spot it could have been, not by probably any fault of their own, or rather not by any massive mistake. It just is one of those things where in any side lane, once you lose control of your wave, it can end up in a spot like that. And Halls very well played to be in a spot to punish that. And as I say that, as we talked about the vibe before, gonna be level 6 and looking towards his bot side, but is gonna get spotted by Pink halfway up the river, so no play to be had in the bot side. And yeah, I mean, a kill going to HDK is gonna be absolutely massive for Dorado here. So far, so good for this Dorado Gaming side. Up, 1.5K when you have the early game team is nice for the time being, but I think you need to put on step on the accelerator just a little bit. Try and really start putting Dead Body behind, because as we do a little bit of a stack check, Dead Body at 39 at 8 minutes. I'm not really sure. I don't know off the top of my head what the stack per minute the desired number is. But I know that it basically you gain 1 per minion or monster kill that you get with an ability, and you get 1 per hitting a champion with an ability. As we see, Living Phoenix has a flash available again and is going to be looking for a play. And as I said, that could be a look on the bot side.
Botting does have MAM available, but with all of the warding coming in from Dorado Gaming Kai, the allocation of vision for Dorado Gaming on the bottom side of the rift, I think, has been really impressive and has allowed for them to keep this slight advantage in terms of gold in the bottom side of the rift and make sure that Dead Botting can't get scaled up. We've been talking about the scaling all game. If you guys have played with or against Smolder, you know how powerful they can be. Resent may be looking to go for a back here.
They didn't walk that wave in.
Yeah. It has been a minute, and they're going to go for that pack. Pickaxe going to be unlocked there. I mean, it's something for Dorado Gaming, but they hold on to a 2,000 gold lead here at the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, Kaisa going to be coming back with the majority of what looks to be a collector, but honestly, hold on. Engage going on the top side. Yikes, trying to catch the Fiora is lacking. Not going to find anything else, though, other than a bit of a chunk and a bit of an HP trade in the top side. Ultimate down, though, for Yikes is going to mean that the Grand Challenge has a whole bunch more value for an HTK here. Should they catch Yikes unaware?
Okay, Grand Challenge going to get used. Yikes. Going to try to get out. Going to get a little bit of damage with that, but that is not the way that you want to use it. HTK will take him down and will add to the Dorado Gaming Kai gold lead, especially in the top lane. The rotation from Halls and Scooter they're going to even out the grub count. No Void Mites here in game one.
Yeah, very nicely done actually for HDK. I almost said HDK. I've been spending too much time with non-Americans. Anyway, HDK doing a nice job there. You know, baiting the recall. Yikes. You know, just did not do due diligence and making sure that HDK actually left the lane. And as a result, now yeah, the top side is gonna get another kill there for Dorado Gaming. Very nice parry coming out. But the one thing I'm worried about still is that HDK is doing really well on this top side here. But honestly, I feel like it might be a bait for Halls to spend more time here instead of trying to put dead botting behind. Because, I mean, we talked about it. Yes, it's 3,000 gold lead in the favor of Dorado Gaming. But look at the characters that they have on their team. They have a Cassante, which is totally fine going down gold and XP. They have a Vlad that has been absolutely unpressured this entire game. And they have a Smolder who, relatively has been unpressured, is same level as Resent, has same CS as Resent. Gold is within 500 as Severed, actually going to get a nice trade onto GoPM. But I mean, Dorado Gaming, is it enough? We talked about it in the past with, I think Kale comps is a big one that people think about, where level 16 is the the death zone or Gangplank once he gets to 2 items, or 4 items, whatever. It is just a matter of time. Dorado Gaming, I feel like, have to end this game in the first 25 minutes, or it is absolutely impossible as Mom comes in, and I'm so sorry if that was loud for you guys. It was very loud for me.
All right, we've got the Keeper's Verdict coming out. A lot of damage onto Living Phoenix, who gets caught out completely unaware. And Ruko goes in with the Vault Breaker, going to be forced to flash away. Hextech Drake is going to go towards Dorado Gaming Kai. It is an Ocean Soul, which gives it to you. However, Season is going to go in on to Severn. Might be able to get out of this one. Huge Buster Shot will put GoBM out of position. Gonna try to take him out with the Q. Does get it. Halls might be next. Great crash down from Scooter though. Ruko's at 1 HP. Will go down. Saved by the Rel. Hey, I'm Scooter, gonna pick up 300.
Yeah, Scooter with a really nice Q flash there with a shattering strike, just getting a nice 2-man stun. GoPM actually did have pool available, so was able to dodge the tower shots there, but this Vlad picking up kill is gonna be really nice for the LiT side, as we see some more trading going on the top side. And just looking at the ball lane here, we see Resent going for what would have been a solo kill had they landed that Prey Seeker onto dead botting, or at least a flash off the small dragon, but no result there. As we see, a 1-for-1 trade, I believe, or sorry, a 2-for-1 trade rather, in favor of Dorado Gaming, in addition to getting their second dragon of the game. And an Ocean Dragon is going to be so nice for this team. Yes, you have some squishy characters, but it means that when you get into a situation like Baron, when you have Ocean Soul on your team, you can basically tank it forever, especially when you have a Poppy and a Rel. And it is just going to be very nice for Dorado Gaming should they be able to continue stacking. But this is another thing, right? We talked about bot game. I think I've been harping on it maybe a little bit too much, to the point where you could probably, start a drinking game with how much I talk about, you have to win early versus Smolder. But getting 2 dragons by 12 minutes into the game is going to be really nice, because Dragon Soul, I would argue, is a win con in this game. Ocean Soul notoriously overpowered when it comes to games that just are grindy. And in this game, I think it's going to be really nice for Dorado Gaming just to have potentially that little bit of an extra buff as we move forward. But we will have to see as we approach the 14-minute mark and the spawn of the Rift Herald.
Yep, Rift Herald's going to come through. No one gets the Void Mites. No one gets the empowered Rift Herald. But it would be a nice objective to have to potentially go for that first tower, especially on the top side of the Rift. Got to play potentially in the bottom lane. The vision game has been so good by Resent, Scooter, and Halls on the bottom side of the Rift to make sure that they can't go with anyone down. We got to play bottom side, but Yikes is going to be fairly low here, going to potentially be in trouble. Glance out, and HTK is going to be on a killing spree. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, looks like Ruko deadbotting Living Phoenix, trying to be able to stay alive here. Resent is going to land the Void Seeker missile, and now will be caught under tower. Will use a quickness to try to be able to get away. Halls is going to flash. Living Phoenix is going to get out. Nicely done to be able to survive, but that's going to be an open tower for Dorado Gaming Kai to pick up.
Yeah, this should be the bot tower going down. Living Phoenix using their quickness there. Deadbotting, you are not allowed to be here whatsoever, my friend.
Oh boy, flap, flap, flap.
Yeah, that's gonna be the flash. Honestly, that's a little bit unfortunate because the wave was dying, and so there really wasn't a reason for Deadbody to step up there, because they would have had to stop hitting the tower anyway. but gonna be forced to use the flashlight, which means that this dragon is in a world of pain should Halls or Scooter decide to walk up. And we know that Ruko's here, which means that it could be really dangerous. Resent actually.
Oh, Mom's gonna come out. Season assist on Resent. They want that kill, and the teleport's gonna come in from Severed to get it. The shutdown's gonna come through on to Ruko. Going to be kills backwards though, with Dorado Gaming Kai taking down Dead Botting. Severed will get 1, Severed will get 2, and the turret and Dorado Gaming Kai just have LiT's number all game.
And this is exactly the pace you want to be going if you are Dorado. That is now 7K or 6,500 in advantage for the red side here. You get the bot towers. You've taken down every single outer tower so far on the map. I mean, if we could do a little bit of a check-in on gold here, Wookie, it is going to be, you know, 3,000 in favor of HDK on the top side. It's going to be 400 in favor of the Dorado Gaming jungler, but across the board, the message is the same. Dorado Gaming ahead on gold. 3,000 though in favor of HDK. I knew it was a lot, but oh my goodness, that gold difference.
Huge gold. And also, I mean, just gold differences across the rift. Despite GOAT BM being even CS and even in kills, it is still a gold advantage for the Dorado Gaming Kai mid laner, thanks to the turret gold that Severed has been able to pick up. Has that Kraken Slayer for the first item and is quietly becoming a late game win condition for Dorado Gaming. However, HDK might have been caught out of position. Can they get this kill though? Or is the wallet just too big? That is almost a 2-item Fiora, and they are able to walk away from an overextension.
Yeah, HDK doing a nice job to walk out there being very slippery. And sort of that overextension means that now Dorado Gaming are going to have first move on the spot side of Scooter, going to find the Vladimir here.
All right, GOAT BM.
Don't really think GOAT BM is too pressured to do much here. Just kind of take a little bit of an HG trade. As HK again, you walked over a ward, my friend. You are not allowed to be here.
Okay, that's the ultimate going to be used here. Yike's going to come in. That's going to be a big damage with the Vault Breaker. And the gold goes over to Ruko, who expended the flash in order to secure that one. But the response is Dorado Gaming Kai will pick up their 3rd Dragon of the game at around 17 minutes. Will they then be able to trade to go for a play here at this Rift Herald? They are on the way towards it.
Yeah, GOAT BM no TP, which means that they're absolutely allowed to go up towards this top side. It would be a 4v4 in the event that they decided to fight HDK up in 10 seconds with TP. So looking very good for the Dorado Gaming side. I mean, it was really nice, you know, it was almost really nice as, hold on, we are definitely having a fight brewing here.
Coming in, Living Phoenix wants to go for the quick. It's only going to be able to get hauled. Nice Scooter movement there from Splitter. Mom's going to come out. Hey, Scooter's going to come through. Big assistance, but the shotgun's going to come in on the Scooter. It's still a 4v4 with a great ultimate coming in from Halls. Ruko's going to be the target. They're going to be able to get target down. Yes, they do. Resent will take that kill. Dead Botting trying to be able to deal what the damage they can to the Rift Tail. Going to go inside the brush. Going to be able to de-leash, so no one's going to be able to get up. Go BM with big damage though. Halls will go down, and that will be Yikes being able to get a big shutdown. The rest of Dorado Gaming Kai are looking to run away with no one still getting the Rift Herald. It will de-leash once again, but LiT Esports Red have taken this fight.
Yeah, and this is really scary. I mean, HDK was there, and they still weren't able to actually win that fight outright. I mean, and so much so that LiT is going to be able to pick up this Herald, which is going to be so nice for them. It is honestly more crucial that it's a denial pick from Dorado Gaming, because they're able to, they would rather be able to, you know, speed up the game so fast as HDK. Looking for a bit of a kill here, as we still have 4 members of LiT back on this top side. But, you know, as a result of that fight now, we see Dead Botting going to be at that second stack, or sorry, that second level of scaling with the Q ability, so much so that the Q now at 125 stacks will explode behind and hit additional targets behind where they use the Q. And the gold lead now going to be almost dropped down to 4K. Was absolutely massive beforehand. But now we look around, Yikes is more or less on even items to HGK there. That Thornmail doing absolute work in the solo matchup, and HGK now going to be pressed to actually make the most of their gold advantage. Here we see Yikes just absolutely pounding this Fiora. Has the grand challenge if they decide to turn. But without ultis, Moose, that's just going to be the reality of the matchup for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, Septi, this is still a game that is Dorado giving Kai favored. They've got the gold advantage. They've got the dragon advantage. However, momentum is starting to slowly shift into LiT Esports red favor. Yikes, and that Cassante is now no longer getting bullied in the top lane. Dead botting getting closer and closer to that magical stack count, has the Essence Reaver unlocked. Cosmic Drive completed for GoPM. You've got the pieces of a late game composition starting to come out. Dorado Gaming Kai have to continue to keep things going though, as Ruko could potentially be in trouble here. Great steadfast presence from Halls. Ruko's gonna go down, and Halls will take that kill, almost carrying that one for Dorado Gaming Kai, and it'll be a power play for them for the next 30 seconds.
I think Dorado have the right idea here. Pings go on to the Baron. I think they understand that this game needs to be ended very soon. Dead botting again, gonna be, you know, on that timer at 150 stacks for the time being, so still a little bit of a ways off. But the Baron gonna get started up here by Dorado Gaming, and they still have all of their ultimates except for the ultimate on that Poppy there, and it should be a really nice position for them should they decide to fight here. Ruko going to be spawning now, so we'll be still about 30 seconds out from this fight.
All right, Dead Botting is going to land the Rift Herald in the mid lane. We'll get that headbutt as we're fighting at Baron. 6,000 HP remaining on it. Hema play going to land on all 5 members. GoPM getting big damage. Mom's going to be next. Huge damage coming in for LiT Esports, but it's not quite enough. The Grand Challenge giving the healing all back for Dorado Gaming Kai. HTK with a huge ultimate play are going to give Dorado Gaming Kai the first ace of this series.
Yeah, and that's an absolutely massive fight for Dorado Gaming. I think if they had lost that, it would absolutely have been the game. But with that fight, they have, you know, I think they have more or less put the first hand on the victory for this game number 1. A massive engage coming out from Scooter there to get 3 or 4 members of LiT there in that fight. Just meant that it was so easy for Resent and Severed to both hit. HDK putting a massive DPS with that grand challenge in the fight as well. And, you know, for GoPM, I think if that was 5 minutes later and they were actually able to finish what looks to be that Riftmaker, sorry, in their inventory, that would have been a totally different fight. We saw the massive AoE damage coming out from the Hema Plague, as well as the Mom being called in over the top. That, I mean, Dorado Gaming looked in a dire spot for a second, but I mean, the absolute wallet difference, the absolute, you know, champion ability of, you know, both Rel and Fiora absolutely carried that fight. And now as a result, they're gonna have Baron gonna be able to push out these sideways and have Prio on this Soul at 22 minutes.
Yeah, and it's looking like they're going to try to go for that one, the Vision Ward on the brush in there to make sure that LiT Esports Red are in the dark. It is just getting melted, Septi, and it is going to be Dorado Gaming Kai with the Ocean Soul and Baron for the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Everything going Dorado Gaming Kai's favor. This is looking like a quick match for them if they can keep up this pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the hardest part of the game. You have your lead. Now use it. We saw, I mean, the mistake at Herald would arguably give this LiT team 5 more minutes had Dorado Gaming not been able to get that pick onto Ruko and go for Baron. But I mean, in game states like this, we talk about how many throws are you allowed to have, and for Dorado Gaming, with the composition they're facing against, I think the answer is 0. If you make a mistake here, it is going to be almost impossible to make up for it. You know, if Dead Bonding is able to pick up a shutdown, either from Resent or from HGK, even if GoPM is able to finish that Riftmaker, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually end on them. And this is where they have to be decisive. This is where they have to, you know that they're strong and use their side lane pieces to the best of their ability. You know, HGK is going to be able to push onto Yikes, as we see a bit of a killer instinct from Resent there.
All right, HTK wants it, will be able to get the damage, and oh my god, Ravenous Hydra, Sundered Sky, Grand Challenge. HTK is back to full HP. Living Phoenix is going to be trying to defend the top side of their base, with LiT Esports Red now being sieged upon at all sides of this rift. Trying to maybe come through. Ruko is going to go in for the season assist onto Halls, and the Mom's going to come in. Hema Blake is going to come in. Halls is going to go down, and Inhibitor will fall. Smolder will fall. Sever going to try to come through, going to get a little bit of damage into GoPM. HGK cannot get the slow onto the Vladimir, so they will back off. 30 seconds remaining on this Baron. I'm not sure if LiT Esports can defend this, but Dorado Gaming are potentially going to go for a 3 inhibitor play.
Yeah, and they spot that Ruko is away in that jungle there. They should easily be able to pick up 3 inhibitors here. Whether they decide to end on this push is another matter. But I mean, HDK did an absolutely massive job in that bot side. They broke open the map, so much so that it forced Ruko to go for a suboptimal engage onto the mid lane members of Dorado Gaming. And now, with, you know, again, a 13k gold lead, Dorado Gaming is looking so nice in this state. So much so that I think they can just, you know, run 4 down the mid lane. You know, honestly, just maybe not run 4. You could do enough where you can just push in these waves, make sure they're all crashing at the same time, and you can absolutely end. What you cannot do as Dorado Gaming right now, though, is group for a massive Hemoplague into a massive Mom into a massive Quickness Grand Entrance. Just do not get wombo comboed if you are Dorado Gaming. Halls, that is on you to use the Steadfast Presence to make sure that your team does not get engaged on by something absolutely crazy. And Scooter, you are by yourself here, my friend. You are gambling the house on the fact that they do not know that you're here by yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to respect Septi. You are definitely showing that LiT Esports Red is not out of this game despite the gold advantage. If they get 1 or 2 good plays and they're able to defend and get some big kills, that could be the difference between winning and losing this game for Dorado Gaming. But all the cards are in their favor. They are now looking to potentially go for the close with the double inhibitors or the double super minions now being poured out of every single lane for Dorado Gaming. Kai, it is a 4-1 split as they continue to push forward to potentially get some damage onto those Nexus towers, and they will. 90 seconds remaining until Baron spawns, as we got a lot of time before the Elder Drake spawns coming through. Let's see if they're going to be able to defend this one. The Nexus towers are now getting sieged from both sides. Keegan Plague's going to come through. Big damage onto multiple members, though. Gopium is going to try to be able to get cease and desist from Ruko. HTK going to come through. Mom is going to get a little bit of damage, but not quite enough. And the wallet dip at 26 minutes is going to be enough for Dorado Gaming Kai to win game 1.
Yeah, and another massive engage coming out from Halls and Scooter to guarantee the massive multi-man knockup. Honestly, very crucial in the success of their game. I think if Scooter did not find as many engages as they did in that game, it would have gone a completely different way. But I think credit has to go to Dorado. You know, this was their test and they passed it with flying colors. You cannot be one smolder into this team. They have an answer for it. They have the Tristana that made you, you know, think about what you were putting in that bot side to pair with it. They decided to go with the Rakan, which, you know, is a fairly stock standard answer in terms of the support pool. But I mean, Dorado Gaming Halls did a nice job playing towards that bot side. Severed and HGK holding it down in those solos. Severed, you know, was a little bit quiet in that early game, but did a nice job farming. You know, had a very nice amount of farm in that game. HGK, you know, absolutely crushed the side lane. We saw them taking Yikes to the cleaner. Almost 30k damage on that Fiora in the end. Ooh. But I think Dorado Gaming, you know, absolutely have put LiT on notice in this game number 1.
Agreed. And I think that there were moments within the game as well that LiT Esports just unfortunately were caught unaware. I really want to highlight the vision game that Dorado Gaming had on the bottom side of the Rift. Ruko was caught out of position a couple of times. The gank potential that could have been there with the power of the Grand Entrance, or with the power of the quickness and the cease and desist, was just unable to be capitalized on because of all the great vision that the bottom side of the Rift for Dorado Gaming was able to put in there. Really just want to highlight that. I thought that was really good to watch and see at this level of play. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, game number 2 here between LiT Esports Red and Dorado Gaming Kai will commence. We'll see you in a couple of minutes for draft. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Marauders League. We are now ready to set up and start game number 2 here between LiT Esports Red and Dorado Gaming Kai. We're going to be staying on the same sides here for game 2, and we were talking about it in the break just a little bit. LiT Esports Red composition, a lot of scaling, maybe just a little too late game heavy, and it allowed for Dorado Gaming to get those early picks that they needed to get things going. If they want to go for a similar comp, what do you think needs to change in the draft?
I think they just need something in mid lane to get pressure. Dorado had the Tristana, which is really hard to play into, but with picks like Talia really strong in the meta currently, that would have paired really nicely for Dorado Gaming there, because you have Vi, you have Talia. Either Severed is forced to play back in their lane even on this Tristana, or you get free push and you're able to actually walk down and stop Halls from being so much of a massive pain in the bot side. That Tristana is going to be a pivot ban for LiT in this game. No longer are they going for the Azir ban. I think rightfully so. I think this Tristana was an annoying flex for them. Yes, they picked the Dragon. I'm sure they might go for Smolder again. I don't think it's a too poorly. I would not say Smolder is the reason they lost that game. I would say the overall execution around Smolder was not was the problem there, as we see them hover it again. I think Asante actually, could have definitely played it a lot better. I didn't see the exact happenings in that top lane. I know we talked about it a bit off stream as to what to do at the level 1. But, I don't know how much of an impact it really had. I can only imagine that it was really bad for the Cassante. But LiT going back to the Smolder, I think is totally fine. And I think Dorado Gaming, have a decent idea of how they want to play into it. Let's see what they decide to do. I like the Rel and I like the Kaisa. Should they decide to go back to it, Rel definitely a strong pickup there. Could maybe even go for something like I don't even know what you would go for really. Maybe it's just Poppy, but maybe you go for the Vi yourself to guarantee lockdown on the Smolder.
Maybe. I liked a lot of the synergy that the Poppy Rel had. Just looking online, a lot of people are saying that, you can go for a Seraphine comp, you could potentially go for a Vayne comp, Twitch, Twisted Fate, Band away, which is another good counter there for him. But the Varus is going to be the pickup here against the Smolder to, maybe go for a little bit more of that lockdown, to go a little bit more for that damage. I'm reading the chat really quick. No, I am not on drugs. It is just my eyes being weird. I got contacts in. Don't worry. Just want to get that out of the way really quick. But going back into the draft, Hearth is going to be locked in. I don't know what's going on with this game.
They have said that they heard our suggestion and they said that we were wrong. They said the answer is more scaling, not less. And actually, I like this adaptation because Varus is not going to have the same kind of pressure in lane that a Kaisa will. Yes, you are going to have that poke later on or that on hit depending on what the Varus decides to go for. But Karthus is absolutely going to have a field day. And it basically forces them to flex the Rel out of the jungle, because if they decide to go jungle Rel versus Karthus, it is going to be an absolute nightmare for Dorado Gaming. They're going to have no pressure on this perma farmer. Jay's going to be a pickup here for Dorado. I don't know where they decide to go, what they're trying to do with that. It definitely signals to me that this Varus is going to be a poke Varus, which is totally fine considering Smolder and Karthus are relatively weak and lower range characters. Yes, they have the snap engage from Nautilus hook, but they're going to be hard-pressed to find a hook past the Rel. But I'm curious to see what Dorado Gaming actually do with their draft. If they put Rel in the jungle, it is most definitely, a very difficult game for them to play. I would... You already have push. Here's my thinking, right? You have push with the Varus and the Jace. You don't really need to put the Rel in jungle. If you wanted to pick something like a Kindred that I know Halls is very comfortable with, you can absolutely go for that. You'll have the push with Varus, you'll have the push with Jace, and you'll actually be able to play into the Karthus should you decide to do so. It also is another one of those early game snowbally junglers that will allow you to totally lock down the Smolder, and they're gonna go with the complete opposite there. Ivern gonna be the lock-in, which signals that it is gonna be potentially an on-hit Varus or a Gwen on R5.
Yeah, we'll see what they do decide to go for here. I love seeing Ivern. It's very fun. It's a really, it's a one of a kind champion, and if you're able to pull it out, it can put some newer players on their heels. And I definitely look at dead botting here because, yeah, while you are a veteran player, you're now navigating what could potentially be Ivern coming
They've
through
done
here.
it. They have flexed the smolder to the mid lane. Sorry, they have. Sorry, they have flexed the smolder to the mid lane with this Nocturne lock-in, I believe.
And it's not Karthus mid.
And LiT have. I'd assume not, because it's Ivern. No, you want the. It's just so much free. It's just so free. And I think Dorado Gaming actually had that read when they locked the Jason.
Interesting.
Gonna be the hover. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just
you're
excited.
good.
I was just very excited. Oh, Renekton, okay, blind. It still leaves open the things, like Aatrox, like Fiora, which are both still very good into that matchup. I don't think Dorado Gaming are too pressed to go for anything here. They sort of have their pick of the litter. I think most of their composition is totally fine. And so whatever it is the HJK wants to run it into Yikes with will be, honestly, whatever they want. But I actually am curious to see where these different picks are going. I can only imagine that it'll be Karthus jungle and Smolder mid, or sorry, Karthus AD and Smolder mid. Jax should be the last champion locked in here. I'm excited. This is a pretty spicy draft. I haven't seen Jace in a minute. I haven't seen Ivern in a minute. Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm excited. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Sirens are blazing. The call is coming from outside the house here in this one. No, don't mute it. Don't mute it. No. Let's. I mean, looking at objectively speaking, we're talking about potentially being too late game heavy for LiT Esports. They do have some late game power in the Smolder and in the Karthus, but Renekton should be able to hold their own in the early game, right? That should be a reliable early game lane that LiT Esports could potentially go off of, that could lead to getting multiple Void Grubs, that could lead to getting that Rift Herald. But to your point that we said in game one, I still feel like the problem is whether it's the Karthus or the Smolder on the bottom side of the Rifts. Like you said, you assume it's going to be that Karthus Nautilus. Dorado Gaming is going to have struggles getting those early game dragons, and that could be a win condition for Dorado Gaming if they're able to scale them up.
Yeah, the sirens are gone. I can come back to speaking. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, I mean, you have a Nocturne that, again, wants to be, this power farming jungler, wants to play up to the level 6 early. But you have two lanes that are, so negative in priority. Yes, the Karthus is okay when it comes to actually clearing a wave, but it's so low range that the Varus and the Rel will be able to actually, poke it, should they decide to, step up to the wave. Smolder, again, is going to really have not much prio into Jace. Jace, known as a bit of a lane bully to champions that are squishy. Smolder is not the beefiest of picks. And on the top side for Dorado Gaming, Jax Ivern is a notorious top jungle duo for absolutely running games. And I don't really know what the win condition for LiT is other than don't lose early. It's going to be very hard. Dorado Gaming are going to be constantly pushing them in, constantly trying to go for objectives. Ivern, not the best when it comes to grub taking, but when you have the priority in lane that Jax and Jace hopefully will get for your Ivern, will be able to take it with the help of their solo laners. But not by themselves pre-6. This is a bit of a mind melter when it comes to how these teams are going to actually play these games out. Because there's no concise method for either of these teams.
We are here to party. We are here to party today in week 3 of the AML, and it's anybody's guess to see how LiT Esports is going to be able to pilot this composition. I do agree with you though that LiT Esports' path to success, I just think it's going to be a little bit harder for them to navigate. And they've shown that some of the issues that happen in the early game, that's just going to be compounded here if you're unable to stop what is going to be a powerhouse in the Jackson Ivern in the top jungle duo, like you were talking about, the powerhouse that Jason Vars are going to be in the mid game. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the Dragon Soul predictions here for game 2. Once again, an Ocean Soul to continue for it being, just the Ocean and Cloud here for these games, Septi. I'm going to start off with I'm going to start off with a Hex Tech this game.
Ah, my pocket pick. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the ocean, and I will also take the only other dragon picked in Cloud.
Let's go. I will take Chemtech, and I will take Mountain.
All right, I will take the Infernal then.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think last little bit about the draft is I think that
Sure.
Dorado Gaming have champions that are sort of good at all stages of the game, whereas LiT have to sort of get there. Normally in a composition where you have scaling lanes, you have a jungler that can actually get you to where you need to be, and Nocturne is not really that kind of jungler in this game. I'll talk about it more in game. Sorry. Anyway, that was my last little bit of thoughts before we go to a short break. But with that said, everyone stick around. We'll be back after a short spectator delay for game number 2 of LiT Esports Red versus Dorado Gaming Kai.
Move closer, but with a deeper sweat. Oh, beneath them we look on. When they part comes the hatred they bring. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their face. So stand upon these fallen lands and follow in our Father's plans. Yeah, until the end we will remain, and we'll hold on until our last breath. So what is to be left for us? My people look on and say, don't fear what you don't know, 'cause we're far from certain fate. And we'll make our final stand. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their flames. So stand upon these fallen lands and follow in our Father's plans. Yeah, until the end we will remain, and we'll hold on until the last
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to game number 2 of LiT Esports Red versus Dorado Gaming Kai. We have stayed on the same sides for this game number 2, but before we get into what will be a potential banger, we have a quick little read for our friends ProComps, a friend of the Aegis stream here. But ProComps is our sponsor and a game-changing app for League of Legends community. This isn't just like any other tool. It's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. ProComps stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations. They have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It's a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your League games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below our stream to find out more. And with that, we have had another fairly interesting, actually, level 1 here. We got some wards on the bot side, but it will just be a pretty standard start for both. Honestly, both pathing up towards top side will be a little bit interesting as we see Halls going for the typical Raptor start. And I am going to be looking, Moose, to see if he does the little Raptor tech when it comes down to actually collect his camps.
Oh,
Wolf tech, sorry.
We will let you keep an eye on that. We'll let you know if they are able to achieve that or if they indeed attempt it. But let's talk about this Smolder really quick. Let's talk about this LiT Esports composition. I was calling out LiT. I was calling out GoPM and DidBotting for playing a new champion here. But we have received word and we have confirmed that both GoPM and DidBotting have over. Oh my God! Yikes is in trouble.
He's not dead.
Okay, all right. Back to what I was saying though. As Yikes has to use Flash and HJK have to use Flash, GoPM and DidBotting both with over 50 games of Smolder since it launched. So you know they are playing it.
Sorry, yeah. HDK does not actually have Flash, as they did do the bit of tech there on Ivern. So looking good for Halls in this game, as Yikes forced to, recall early again in this top side, as we see Yikes gonna try and go for this, as HDK actually gonna lose the cannon there, which is not really great for them. And look at the jungle. We see Ruko coming out early on this Nocturne clear, which is not going to be great for the respawns. But HDK did a nice job, used the Ignite to their benefit to get that early push. Will not get the bounce, I think, the same way they'd like, as Yikes was able to pull that wave back. But looking around the map, GoPM actually is going to have the advantage in this mid lane, which is not really what we'd expect in the matchup, but has opted to go for the Doran's Blade start in this lane, which is definitely the more aggressive of the options. Typically with Smolders, we see them go for both Comet and Doran's Ring in the early game, because they're typically weaker and they would like to just use the W to farm and poke out. But in a lane like this where GoPM feels that they're allowed to actually auto attack, it is a lot nicer for them to actually go for this Doran's Blade, as Yikes and HGK are just absolutely brawling with each other, and Halls we have a little bit of a pause, so nothing to worry about for the time being. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm curious to see what we do with this Smolder here in the mid lane. I think, let me take a look at, I was looking at GoPM's OP.gg real quick, because I think they had a decent idea of how they wanted to build it out. It looked to be, a little bit different from what we saw last game, opting for more of a Triforce focused build. But massive trading going on the top side. Actually, HDK almost taking down Yikes there, as the fight in the river still continues. Severed actually no mana, so not really able to help out Halls should this fight extend, as we see Halls gonna try and tap the crab here in front of Ruko again. Just not allowed to actually get away with taking the crab.
Not going to be okay. Going to be Halls, though. Potentially going to be in trouble. Going to be fleeing. Going to be forced to flash. But Severed is going to come through. Going to get a little bit of damage onto Ruko. But it's not enough. First blood will go to Ruko. But that was so close.
Yeah, and that's so dangerous. Severed had no mana to actually use any abilities there. And Halls using the shield on themselves instead of on their teammate there. Going to guarantee that Severed actually goes down, and Ruko with the lethal tempo did such a nice job there, just constantly dealing out damage throughout the entire fight, as we saw, a bit of a trade there on the bot side. Resent going down a little bit there. And honestly, looking a little bit scary for the Dorado Gaming Kai bot lane. Although granted, dead botting on this card is not the most, dive focused champion. But no, I mean, as we look around, it's not too crazy of an early game. It's really nice that HDK actually got that kill on the top side with the Ignite at their disposal. It will mean that they have a bit of an advantage in this lane. But crucially in this mid lane, GoPM not step behind early by crazy trading around them, and in fact actually gets ahead with some early assist gold, and we'll have that call for the timer early.
Yeah, like we were talking about, Yikes does go down. Great counter-strike from HTK. Will be able to avoid damage long enough to be able to get that kill and get the gold advantage. Should be able to even out the CS here with a good minion wave coming through. Gonna come in, actually gonna get a bigger trade on to Yikes. And it definitely is seeming like HTK has downloaded Yikes throughout this entire series and continues to dominate. We'll go in for another trade here. HGK looking to go really aggressive, but now we'll play on the bottom side. Dead botting is in trouble, gonna be forced to use the flash. Ignite is gonna come through.
That hook.
Dead botting is low. Great hook from Living Phoenix, but Resent will be able to pick up that kill. Living Phoenix gonna be forced to flash away as Ruko comes through. Gonna get the kill onto Scooter to make it a 1-4-1. The root lands though from Halls to support Resent as they're able to pick up that kill, and they get the kill on a Living Phoenix. Resent does go down, but it is a 3-for-2 in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, very nicely done for Dorado Gaming. They take down 3, and 2 of those kills going to the 80 carry of their team, and just casually HGK gonna pick up a solo kill onto Yikes. This top side has been absolutely Dorado favorite all series long. But I got to talk about that bot lane there as well, because Resent did a really nice job, was flashing forward, was able to find that kill onto Ruko, I think with the flash rain of arrows into the blighted arrow, not blighted arrow, but into the Q there. Did a nice job there stacking and getting a bunch of nice damage down. I think Living Phoenix played that fight almost perfectly, was able to hook Scooter off of dead botting for the longest time, keeping them alive, and then dead botting using the passive really nicely to get a trade back, or get a kill back rather, for their team. As we see on the bot side here, Scooter looking potentially for another engage on the top side as we look back towards top side, and Yikes, this is not your series, my friends. No slice and dice available for the Crocodile. Just forced to walk away and lose even more golden XP on this top side.
Yeah, going to be down at 28 CS 240. I was talking about that slight advantage that Yikes had, no longer existent in terms of CS. So not only is it a kill advantage, but just a CS advantage, just natural advantage for Dorado Gaming in a lane that Yikes should have had advantage in the first 7-8 minutes of the contest. It will go towards HTK's favor. LiT Esports Red looking to go potentially for this dragon. It is a Hextech Drake to start off this one. Looks like they will be able to pick that one up. In exchange, Dorado Gaming is going to attempt to get the Void Grubs. Halls is not having the best time with it, but eventually we'll be able to get the first one down.
Yeah, it's gonna take a very long time to take these grubs. There's so much so that I think Halls should just take 2, to be honest, before moving on. As we see a fight going on the top side, Dominus popped. Ignite dropped.
Yeah, Master at Arms gonna be used from HTK, knows that they're there. Actually gonna be Severed going to finish the Void Grubs. Yikes gonna be forced to flash away in the Dominus. Will be able to get out of that one. GoPM gonna maybe try to get this Void Grub. Who gets it? It goes to Severed. So Dorado getting Kai are going to pick up 3. Paranoia is going to come through on to Ruko. Daisy's going to get popped. Going to go for the Fear. Going to go for the Requiem. Big damage coming in from Mom, though. GoPM gets 1. Yikes gets the 2nd. And LiT Esports Red even up the kill count.
Yeah, Living Phoenix is going to maybe die for this play, as HK going to do a nice shot with the counter strike onto 4.
Oh my god!
2 kills back. Oh no, but it's an execute. Oh, that's so tragic.
Wow, but that was so good.
I mean, HGK played that really well there. No flash available for them in this game, but credit has to go towards LiT here. It looked like a pretty scary engage, but when we saw all the damage over the top, with the Requiem, with the Mom called in, it was a very nice fight for this LiT Esports side, and honestly looking a lot better in this game than they did in game number 1. So much so that, I mean, look at this Smolder, 2-0-2 at 50 stacks, 9 minutes into the game. They already have the first level of their Q evolve, which is just going to be the bit of an explosion on the point and click ability. But once they get to 125, they will get the splash damage, and then once they get to 225, that will be the big Mama Elder Dragon. That will only continue to get better from there. But looking around the map, I mean, it is a very nice lead for Resent in that bot side there, but with a bunch of assists picked up from dead botting, only going to be down about 600 gold. So I'm trying to, I'm trying to look for a way for Dorado Gaming to concisely win this game. because we talked about it, right? Lit win this game by doing nothing and just, you know, farming out and making sure the gold lead doesn't get too massive away from them. And they're doing a great job of that. Only 300 currently for Dorado Gaming in this advantage. But I mean, Dorado Gaming, what do you do? Is it you just try and win with HTK, just completely split down their throat with this Jax Ivern duo? I think that might have to be the plan for the time being, because I mean, both Resent and Severed not going to be online, I think, early enough to actually win this game before Karthus and Smolder are actually able to 1v9 your team.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the lead top side though, 75 to 38 CS. Do you have a play potentially going to go in on the bottom side with Ruko with that paranoia? Hey, Scooter and Resent have to be careful of that potentially happening. They will back away. We are going to get a play top side though. Oh my god. HJK is going to win that one. The paranoia is going to drop on the bottom side of the Rift. Going to be able to get the fear on to Resent. Will get one. Scooter will flash to be able to survive the second, and they will barely run away with 1 HP.
What we have to say though, which is different from game number 1, is Dorado Gaming have had way less information on where Ruko has been in this game, as HDK now in a little bit of a world of trouble should just be totally fine. We'll have the leap strike available in just a second. But yeah, Dorado Gaming have not been able to do a good job of tracking Ruko in this game, so much so that, I mean, we saw on the grub fight up top, and we saw in this spot side here, just out of position when it came to, you know, positioning against paranoia, because I mean, Resent was forced to use flash but still died as Ruko was able to get the chains on them. Just did a really nice job of actually supporting the spot lane. And as we look at it, it's going to be a gold lead, or at least even gold, for this LiT Esports side, which is absolutely insane. And looking at the gold in the mid lane, it is going to be a 700 gold lead for the Smolder. I know they weren't involved in that last play, but it is a critical point nonetheless, as Hall is going to be able to spot Ruko here. And also critically, we're 12 minutes into the game. The second dragon is spawning in 41 seconds, and it has not gone the way of Dorado Gaming. And so LiT are absolutely sitting pretty in this one.
Yep, and we'll see if they can continue to keep that going. Want to do just highlight HGK with a 1600 gold advantage against Yikes. It is a 600 gold advantage for Resent on the Varus against Deadbotting on the Karthus. Leandries has been completed though for Deadbotting, as well as the Strikebreaker for Ruko. Paranoia not quite up yet, but the rest of Dorado Gaming Zeta may be looking to go for a play here. Hall's maybe going to try to find the rest of the comp. No, does not. Living Phoenix and Ruko going to be not seeing that. They will be able to clear up that Tri-Brush, and now the start of the Dragon will begin for Dorado Gaming. Kai, Paranoia just about up, is now available for them to use. They've got vision on this Dragon, so we'll see if they are able to come in to find the play, to get themselves the Smite Steal, and to get themselves a big dragon to come through. Everyone hiding in towers or in brushes for Dorado Gaming. Kai, the Paranoia is going to drop. The Mom is going to drop. Who gets the dragon? It's going to go to Dorado Gaming. Kai, huge damage onto LiT Esports. Gets the dragon. It's a Chemtech Soul. Dorado Gaming. Kai does not die though. They're able to get Halls away, and Karthus goes down. Requiem will take down Halls though to make it a 1-for-1. Scooter is next. GoPM will take them down. GoPM is on a killing spree. Severed and Resent are low. Oh, Resent gets Ruko. Living Phoenix gets Resent, and it's a bloodbath at Dragon.
Yeah, and on the top side, we have trades going over there too, as Living Phoenix is going to be able to ignite Severed down and take him. Very nicely well done from the support of LiT Esports. They're able to also get that dragon to their name. So 2 now on the blue side there, as HDK going to find another solo kill onto this Renekton, who is absolutely getting hammered in this game. HDK going to be the lifeblood of this Dorado Gaming team. As we see a ping onto the grubs potentially, and I think Dorado Gaming, I think you have to try and get these for HDK rather, if you're here, but it's gonna be so hard because you do not have your people in the right spot. And I wanted to say this in the moment, but Dorado Gaming sort of missed out a bit on their due diligence. They had push in mid lane, but they did not have the wave pushed in on the bot side because they tried to go for that cheeky invade onto the Krugs there. And as a result, it just meant that Deadbotting and Living Phoenix were able to freely walk into that river without the fear of really missing out on too much in their lane. And I mean, as a result, we saw that's what it turned out to be. It was a pinch, a very nice ulti from GoPM to actually push them back, and then that absolutely chaotic fight as the grubs are started up. But hold on,
Gonna get the root in onto GoPM, is gonna be targeted. Mom is gonna come out, but the shutdown from HTK. It's the Titan taking out the Titan. HTK will take one. HTK will get two shutdowns with Living Phoenix falling. Dorado Gaming Kai will take the gold lead back, and they can go for Rift Herald.
Yeah, that's just a bit of a mistake there from GoPM, not really understanding how long of a range Halls or that Ivern Q was going to be. Just got caught out just by the hair of their chin. They just got, you know, a little bit caught out, and as a result, I mean, Dorado Gaming did a really nice job. They collapsed on it. They were able to find that kill, and also deny the grub take. So only 3 grubs taken on the game. Herald now on the map. But I mean, critically, gold now in favor of Dorado Gaming by about 1.3k as HGK again just gonna find a nice trade onto Yikes, who, I mean, to their credit, has not given up as much as it looks. You know, yes, they're 1-5, but they only just recently lost their tower, and have been, you know, relatively trying to stay in this game. We'll be going for, I think that it's gonna be the Sundered Sky as their first item, potentially a Titanic Hydra. But Herald's gonna get started up here, and Dorado Gaming are back here at the table. LiT Esports gonna look for it.
And the teleport's gonna come through from HTK, 1000 HP remaining. They will be able to take it. Now Ruko gonna try to come through with the paranoia, going to be able to get the spell shield to stop the stun. Will go in on to Severed, or onto Halls, but it doesn't matter. HTK's damage is just absolutely monstrous. Sundered Sky will complete. It is now 8-1 on this Jax.
Yeah, I mean, HGK gonna do, you know, gonna find themselves some more gold there. Critically onto someone who's actually worth a bit more gold than Yikes is. Oh no. Yikes is gonna be forced to pop Dominus if HGK trades onto them again. And this is critical, right? We talked about HGK last game having that Fiora counter pick and absolutely running down this Cassante. Like I said, if the trade happened again, was gonna be forced to use Dominus. But it's now the absolute win condition of this team. And Dorado Gaming, I think, have to realize that, and they have to play around it. TP coming in onto the bot side. It will be the Smolder's dead botting. No mana available to them. No flash to their name.
Magnetstorm is gonna drop. GoPM will go for the Achu. We got a lot of damage on Resent, and Resent might fall. The shielding, the healing is just enough for Dorado Gaming Kai to keep their bottom, or their AD, alive. Sever, though, caught out in the crossfire, will go down to make it a 1-for-1 play in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they went 1-for-1. Severed, you know, walked a way that was not very safe for them. Tried to walk behind the Dragon Pit, got caught out by Ruko and Living Phoenix. Yeah, Deadbotting tried to get one back with the Requiem, just not able to do so, as we see Yikes and HGK just following each other around the map, trying to stop each other from getting as much gold as possible. This HGK guy is just having so much fun this game. 8-1, 700 gold bounty to their name. Will be working towards, I'm actually curious to see what they're working towards with this third item. I would love it to be a Zhonya's. I'm trying to remember what that builds into. The Steel Sigil. I know it builds into Guardian Angel, but I don't remember what the other items are. So I will do some homework as we talk about this dragon right now.
If Dragon's gonna come through, it is a Chemtech Soul, which was my soul, so I'll get the point. A new dragon pick for this league, not seen before. But let's go ahead and see who's going to be able to get it, as it now has indeed spawned. Paranoia is gonna pop in on to a Severed, who's in trouble, going to be very much in trouble, going to be trying to flash away. Flash going to be used from GoPM to finish the job. They do.
But now
Severed
they overextended here.
able to go down. Teleport's going to come in from Yikes, but that is a very weak Renekton. Going to come in with Living Phoenix. Going to go in for the knockup. Scooter's going to try to come through. Big, huge knockup coming in from Scooter. HGK is dominating. That's going to be 1 for HGK, 2 for HGK. Ruko is next. They want the kill. Unable to get it. Ruko will take down Scooter, though. Triple kill for HGK. Resent will take the 4th. And Dorado Gaming Kai will take the fight.
And that's going to be a 4-for-2. Severed, I mean, look to be caught out there, but LiT just going far too far into the red side of the map there, and Dorado Gaming absolutely able to find the collapse. Did a really nice job there. We see now HGK is 11-1. This Jax is absolutely monstrous. Going to be working towards that death stance there, as we see the first dragon actually of the game taken for Dorado Gaming, will be that Chem Tank Dragon, which is arguably one of the better dragons for them. It is an incredible dragon for dead botting on this Karthus, as you know, you get the additional damage as well as tenacity the lower HP you are, and when you're dead on Karthus, that's the maximum amount of bonus you can get from low HP. But no, Dorado Gaming did a really nice job there. Resent was able to find so much damage in that fight. Now with the Terminus finished themselves, and Dorado Gaming 2K ahead in this game. But we talked about it, right? LiT, they are scaling. Yes, that fight went bad for them, but I mean, does it matter so much? Yes, it does for the time being. But we see a little check-in on GoPM. It's going to be 180 stacks on the Dragon practice for Smolder. So only 45 more stacks to go before they get the Walmart Elder Dragon. And Dorado Gaming, I think they have to look for an angle like they did last game, where they have to try and find a pick, and they have to try and, you know, go for this Baron to actually blow open the game. And yikes, it's just this is trying their very hardest to keep HDK from splitting down this game. As you see, the Grandmasters might pop Dominus as well. Yikes, just got to get absolutely taken down by HDK.
Oh boy, top diff, I have to say it. Oh boy, yeah, and that's gonna be rough as well. It's a power play for Dorado Gaming. Kai, the Paranoia is gonna come through. A 4v4, HGK can now teleport in. So this is a 4v4 with a big Magnet Storm from Scooter. Can they follow up with it? They cannot. Scooter's gonna go down. Big Root's gonna land on a dead botting though. Will end up falling. Requiem's gonna get used. HGK now there with the TP. Halls is low. Do they have enough for the shield? Yes, they do. They will be able to get the shield to stay alive. So across the rift, a 2-for-1 play in favor of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, and that's a little bit sad for Dead Body. That's 2 Requiems that they're just a little bit of HP off of getting that kill. But I mean, HDK gonna use that teleport actually for not much advantage, which is going to be a bit of a saving grace for LiT Esports there. It means that this Jax, yes, will have side pressure, but will not be able to lock Yikes in lane once they have the teleport advantage. The only trouble is that I don't think Yikes is allowed to TP away if HDK is split pushing. It's just going to be a little bit rough if they let this Jax free hit a tower.
Yeah, I mean, looking to go for item number 4 at this point, 12-1. It is going to take a mountain to come through, and it looks like there might be a change in strategy. Severed is going to be there against Yikes. They are going to have teleported, or they're going to both have teleport when Yikes gets it in the next 30 seconds or so. HTK maybe looking to go to the top side of the rift, can be closer towards that Baron. With Dragon now spawning in 2 minutes, it's going to be a little bit of time for them to be able to potentially navigate this one. It is 20-16 in kills, so it's not quite a slaughter in favor of Dorado Gaming Kai. It is only a 4,000 gold advantage at this point. But LiT Esports Red definitely got to be worried about this game getting too far out of hand and giving away too many kills. Dorado Gaming Kai going to go for a little bit of an aggressive play here in the jungle. Going to try to go for a little bit of damage. HGK going to be able to walk away. But now Severed is in the bottom lane getting another good trade against Yikes, which is also rough considering that Severed is 1-5 and 6.
Yeah, I think while you have this power mismatch, I think you have to go for the Dragon here, which is what Dorado Gaming are going to do. You have an HDK around, which means you have to actually use this advantage while you have it. Looking around, though, GoPM did finish the second item and actually will tick over to the 225 mark if this fight happens here. The bomb should be coming in just a second here, as HDK actually going to pull the trigger themselves.
Gonna go in onto dead botting, trying to be able to get them out. Who's gonna lead Baron though? A lot of damage onto dead botting. Requiem's gonna get used. Oh, it misses. He uses Requiem too early. Mom doesn't get anybody. Will be able to get the kill on 2 Halls though, but HGK is back at it with another kill onto Living Phoenix. There it is, legendary Jax, and a huge misplay coming out from dead botting. Teleport's gonna come in from GoPM. They want to be able to take down Severed. They will be able to get the slow. There's that 225 second to come through. Severed gonna be able to get away though with a nice flash juke.
Yeah, gonna be forced to use the flasher, but has the phase rush to get away. Baron should be on the table for Dorado Gaming. I believe dead botting is gonna have the Requiem available when they spawn, so should get a decent chunk onto Dorado Gaming members with this Baron debuff on top of them. But I really like the way that Dorado Gaming played that. They knew they had HDK on the top side there. They had the strong point, and they had Severed pushing in the Renekton, so if they needed the Jace to actually come over, they could have absolutely pulled them. But the advantage now going to be Dorado favored. The gold lead sitting at 6k in their favor. And I sort of just understood the premise of this build from Goat BM. Frozen Fist going to be picked up, Iceborne Gauntlet, I believe, as it's called. So Goat BM actually going to be going for an interesting build. Not going to be building damage too much. Yes, has some damage components, but is really trying to build, you know, just for stack usage. Sitting at 225 now, is just going to be building to completely, you know, stay safe and just try and get as much of their Elder Soul burn as possible from their kit. To, I mean, just be that annoyance in the fight, you know, constantly put slows, constantly, you know, have people with, I believe it's a 10% tick, maybe a 5% tick, as Scooter actually gonna get found out here.
A lot of damage onto Scooter, gonna be able to get that nice shielding coming in from Hall. Paranoia is gonna get popped, but it's a 4v4 big knockup from Daisy, and Ruko can't even land a Paranoia proc. Scooter just gonna have their shield melted away, but will be able to stay alive. And a lot of ultimates used on the side of LiT Esports, 4 of them to be exact.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the ultimate economy is looking nice for Dorado Gaming, but then I remember that Severed, their ultimate is on like a 3-second cooldown. But no, I mean, Scooter did a nice job, was able to actually live there after overstepping just a little bit. Not able to do enough damage. The shields were absolutely massive for the side of Dorado Gaming. I mean, between the Iron Shield as well as the Locket of the Iron Solari, keeping that rel safe. As you know, again, I want to do another stack check, and 250 is the count currently for Goat BM. Gonna be going for 2 masks, which is, I mean, they do stack next to each other, granting, you know, 2% bonus damage up to 6% for each champion they are in combat with, or sorry, for each second rather they're in combat with an enemy champion. So that is a potential, I mean, that's a good amount of damage extra with this Smolder. As we see the poke starting to come down from the Dorado Gaming side, they are looking very pretty. As we see Resent actually picking up a Seeker's Arm Guard there, the stopwatch, the very expensive stopwatch of this season.
Yep, trying to be able to come through. We'll see what they can do with it. Paranoia is going to get popped. That is a 2v1 with Goat BM there against HGK. HGK gonna go for the counter strike. A flash from Goat BM. HGK, though, still alive. Huge resistances on this Jax, and Ruko cannot go for the 1v1. The blast cone will actually give HGK enough safety to be able to survive. That was very chaotic.
Yeah, and HGK actually going to survive this whole time. Still has the teleport available. Should a fight break out in this mid lane. And look at dead botting. Half mana almost, or sorry, no mana, half HP. Oh, it's Dorado Gaming not actually going to pull the trigger. But no, I mean, massive coming out from HGK there to be able to get those ultimates off of Ruko and Goat BM means that this side lane push will just be a little bit nice for them for the time being, should they decide to actually step out onto the map. But no, Dorado Gaming will actually just take their base timers. They will go for the buys, as it looks like Severed actually will be very close to finishing this Muramana. Has been building that, has been stacking that tier all game, as HDK, again, 4 items completed on this Jax, the most fed member in this game, has almost as many kills as the entire side of LiT Esports. But no, going to be an absolute menace in this side lane. And Goat BM was forced to flash away from the Jax in that last fight, just a little bit fearful of what the Lamp Man can do with the items at their disposal. And I just sort of wanted to take a quick check-in on the whole map here, as we see 2 dragons for either side, 7k gold lead in favor of Dorado Gaming. And I honestly like what they're doing here. They're going for a 4-man push in the mid lane, using HDK in the side lane, just keeping each other safe. They know this Jax has teleport, so if a fight were to ever break out, they can join with a moment's notice.
Now let's see.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry. But with no Baron, it is going to be tough for this side to push.
Yeah, and with Baron spawning in a mid at 44, next dragon spawning in a mid at 22, HJK is about to be at full build, or at full damage and at full level here in just a moment. Level 17 on this Jax. Daisy's gonna fall, but it is still going to be a 4-man push here in the mid lane. Other items to consider, though. You've got the Frozen Heart. You've got the Locket completed for Living Phoenix on the Nautilus. Shadow Flame and the Leandry is going to be completed, along with an Oblivion Orb for Dead Botting. So going to be cutting a little bit of that healing that you are getting there for Dorado Gaming, and that Moonstone Renewer that Halls is able to come in, but really looking to build to play that more supportive role. Redemption going to be there, as well as that Ardent Sensor, all three of Severed's Resent and HTK can all use that. Almost 4 items completed for Resent, though. Will be able to get that Wit's End. Dragon now spawning in 25 seconds, and it looks like Dorado Gaming Kai are looking to pick up that objective.
Yeah, and LiT are definitely looking to give this. It is only the 3rd dragon for Dorado Gaming. They have no reason to step into this jungle. They just need to be collecting as much of their jungle CS as they can. Try and push this top wave out as far as you can, because Baron rather is going to be spawning in 30 seconds time. I really like what they're doing. They're going for vision denial, trying to just slow down the Dorado take as much as they can, because I mean, with every second, with every wave that passes, Goat BM is getting more and more stacks. Dead Botting is getting closer and closer to finishing what probably will be that death cap 3rd. And I really like that they have gone for this Shadow Flame. You know, it's so annoying with missing out on kills with 1 HP. Just gotta get that little bit of extra crit damage should they find that their targets are low enough. A Scooter is not the tankiest of rels. Yes, has the Aftershock. Yes, has the Locket of the Iron Solar, but the Trailblazer not the most tanky of items, and Dorado Gaming gonna start up this Baron.
Yep, Daze is going to be a little bit of cover for Dorado Gaming. They are going to have them go down. Baron's now at 10,000 HP. HTK knows the power that they provide, but GoPM's going to come through. There's the Paranoia. There's the Mom. Going to land a lot of damage, though. Huge damage, and Bars goes golden. HTK is legendary. It just doesn't matter when you're that far fed. Ruko goes down. Smolder goes down. The damage looked big, but it just wasn't enough. Living Phoenix is going to get rooted, which will add to the slaughter. Resents on a rampage. Dead Body with no mana will give HTK legendary status. There's the Requiem to at least get hauls. But oh boy, 16-1 on this Jax this entire series. I don't want to say put on HTK's back, but definitely
made it easier by it.
Definitely made it easier.
Yeah, HGK did a really nice job. Yikes, you're gonna try and fight for their life here. No Baron means that these minions are a little bit squishier, but it does not matter. The crash out coming in from Scooter just means that this Renekton is going to get turned into a pair of boots, as Rook gonna try and get one back for themselves, but Scooter is not going to die. As Dorado Gaming 2-0 LiT Esports Red in the Aegis Marauders League.
Oh boy.
Whew.
Oh boy. There was just so much that there's so much that we could digest about what went wrong.
I mean, I would have to say that a lot went right for LiT. The game ended how it did, the series ended how it did, but I would have to say that a lot went right for LiT. They, you know, were pretty good. They were fighting well together. You know, they were having some good combinations. I mean, I remember back to that, you know, that engage on the top side after Grubbies, where, you know, they had the Karthus ulti over the top. They had the Mom come in as well, with this Nocturne ulti coming in, and it looked like they were, you know, in sync. They were all clicking. Severed looked to be on the back foot in the mid lane, and GoPM was more or less scaling for free on this Smolder. Just did not seem to have enough gas to get to the finish line, you know, which I think would have been maybe that next Karthus item, or maybe, you know, a few more stacks onto Smolder. I'm not going to put it completely on Yikes, because, you know, the team let that Renekton matchup be as it was. They didn't really play for it. They kind of let HDK, you know, do what he wants. Yes, you had the solo kill early on, but I mean, you have a Renekton. You're playing for solo kills in that top, or you're playing for early game rather on that top side. And when you just leave it to rot away as you did, you know, you can't be too surprised when the Jax comes out of lane and is just an absolute monster. But I think, again, credit has to go to Dorado Gaming. They played a really solid 2 games. Game 1, I had to raise my hand and say, you know, you guys played really well. I didn't think that you'd be able to, you know, shut down the Smolder as well as you did. HDK kind of an amazing Fiora game. I don't do this often, but I would say that HDK for sure is an MVP of this series. The Fiora game and Jax game were an absolute sight to behold. Yeah, I think the team played really well. Dorado Gaming 2-0 this week.
Yeah, congratulations to them with that series win. That will bump them up to 1-1. They did not have a game last week, but now 1-1 moving into week 4. So going to be a, you know, start to hopefully a run for them here in the Void division. We're going to take a quick break, though. When we come back, we've got an interview from Dorado Gaming Kai. We'll see who they want to bring up to talk about the series. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with Dorado Gaming Zai. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name earlier, Zol. You know, don't get mad at me. But Dorado Gaming Zai's jungler, Halls. Halls, I think you had a great series tonight. Sort of take me into the draft a bit. I know, you guys had a good game. Obviously, HTK had a great game in that top side, but you are the one that is here with us now. Take us into the draft a bit. Were you prepared for the Smolder? Sort of, what were your thoughts going in once you saw that they B1'd that little dragon?
Yeah, so going into it, I mean, like, we did kind of look and we noticed they kind of both played it, so we weren't shocked to see like the Smolder B1. Like, we really thought it was a flex, and it was a flex ultimately. So we didn't want to show all of our cards when they B1 Smolder. Now we don't want to assume it's bot lane, so that's kind of our thought process. So going into it, yeah, I guess we did know, like, we were prepared to see Smolder in games.
Cool. And I guess sort of then you had an idea of what you wanted to play around it, sort of. I mean, we saw in that game one, you guys played pretty heavily towards that bot side. But I mean, sort of to part two to that question, did you guys, how pressured did you guys feel in that game number one to sort of shut down the bot lane?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was our top laner got counterpick on 5, and he had like the best matchup I think Fiora can get one of. So, I mean, he was pretty chill. He's really confident in the matchup. And then on the bot side, we wanted to just make sure like mid lane was free scaling for them, but Tristana kind of punishes a bit. Maybe if he didn't punish him all the way, it's not a big deal. But the main objective was to counter gank the Vibe bot lane and look to dive Smolder and just stack dragons and force a fight really at Soul, like an early Soul, which is what we did game one.
Very cool. Very cool. I want to talk about your vision game. Especially, I was really impressed with your vision control, really stopping Ruko from being able to be effective on that buy in game one. It felt like just the whole of LiT Esports bottom side of the rift was covered in vision. What's your mentality with warding and vision control, and how do you maintain that level of effectiveness throughout the games?
I think a lot of it's like just timers and windows that we get. I know me and Scooter are pretty good about it. So just when we he'll tell me, hey, I want to grab vision here, and then I tell him if I can, if I can't, that sort of thing. But me and him, it's actually funny you say this, because I think Scooter's probably more the guy that can probably tell you the better answer to this, because he does a lot more but than I do. He's a lot better at it than I am, which is probably like the best way I could answer your question, but the real answer is he probably knows more.
Fair enough. And I mean, as a support player, you kind of expect that to be part of the knowledge base that you get when you play a champion and a role that really focuses in a lot on vision and things like that. But I did want to at least highlight that, Scooter and Resent are doing a lot of that work in the bottom lane. I did respect just the level of awareness that you guys were able to have down there. And it denied LiT Esports the opportunity to go for those aggressive plays, and ultimately allowed for you guys to gain just so much momentum, not only in game one, but in game two. And a lot of times when I personally cast lower level ranks of players, Diamond, Emerald, below, there seems to be a struggle for teams being able to press that advantage. Were there moments that you felt like, hey, I really need to press that advantage? Would you say that there was a particular moment or a particular instance that you were like, hey, we need to actually play to win? Or is it just a more aggressive mentality in the higher ranks?
I think our team overall is a very skirmish heavy team. I think we excel at team fights really well. But I think like these games, we kind of knew our win cons going in and how we lost, like how we were going to lose the game, which is like when we were ahead, game one at least. Game two was a bit of a different story. I think game two was just kind of HTK was a monster on Jax, and that's hard to deal with. But I just think that it comes with, at least at higher ranks, it comes with knowing like how to push your advantage more, how to push your lead a little bit better. Just like squeezing out like more from your lead, basically. But I think
Awesome.
for us, we kind of felt in the drive. We've how do I word this? We felt like we were in the driver's seat majority of these games. We were where. Oh, I can't speak right now.
You're
We
good.
were where we wanted to be. There we go. Sorry, I got it out. I can't
You
speak,
were
but I
good.
can play League.
You're where you wanted to be. And with that win, that puts you guys firmly in the lead in terms of Dorado gaming teams here in the AML. Dorado Gaming Zeta struggling to get their first win. How does it feel to be on paper the better team in the league?
I mean, it feels pretty good. I don't doesn't really change our mentality, how we're gonna play.
Right.
So, but I think
Fair.
overall, we're where we want to be. So.
Awesome. Well, hey, before we let you go, any final shout outs or words of wisdom that you want to part with us?
Yeah, Zol's my goat. Yeah, HDK is
Check
a
the
monster
PayPal.
tonight. Yeah, Zol. Yeah, HDK performed like crazy. Sev played crazy. We just played well tonight. That's all I gotta say.
Awesome. Well, hey, congratulations on the win. Like I said, that's going to put you up to 1-1 in the Void division. Best of luck in your game against Gump Slayers next week.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and that is going to do it today for our Week 3 matchup. Septi, any final words or any upcoming events that our viewers should be aware of?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously in the Aegis community, we got a bunch of different leagues running. I believe we have the AEL on Thursday, as well as we have the APL on Friday. I believe the ACL is coming back at some point. I don't think it is this Friday, but keep your eyes and ears open for that one. Next Monday, we have the ADL, which I believe, Moose, you are a caster of, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. No, I'm thinking of Slayer. Never mind. I think
There you
Slayer.
go. Yeah.
Slayer. But no, ADL is Monday. That's a bunch of really good players as well. But no, stick around. I mean, we got a whole bunch of content. I think check around, take a peek in the Discord servers. We do a whole bunch of other games as well. I believe we have some Valorant, maybe some TFT as well. So yeah, I mean, stick around, join the community. Give us a shout if you want to see more content of different variety. I'm sure we'd be more than willing to oblige or potentially take a look into it. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. Aegis has got a whole bunch of stuff. And obviously, we're able to do that with the support of our lovely sponsors, both Coachify and ProComps. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here at the Aegis Marauders League, as well as every other Aegis League. And Moose, Wookie, thank you very much for producing and helping me tonight.
Really quick, before we sign off, if you guys are not in the Discord, join the Discord, because the Hot Pockets tourney signups are now indeed live. You can go on to challenge.com and sign up now. You can look at the event details as well in the page. Go and support our newest sponsor, Hot Pockets, in their upcoming tournament. Going to be a ton of fun. With that being said, on behalf of everybody here at Aegis Esports, Septi, Wookie Monster, and myself, we'll see you guys all next week for Week 4 of the AML. Take care and see you guys next time.
Don't try to make yourself remember, darling. Don't look for me, I'm just a story you've been told. So let's pretend a little longer, 'cause when we're gone, everything goes on. You were staring at the window, and I said, I wanna take you to the sea. And when I'm better, we'll do everything. I gotta stop making promises I can't keep. But if I was gone tomorrow, won't the waves crash on? Is it selfish that I'm happy as we past the setting sun. Someday I'll be overcast, but you won't have to cry, 'cause we'll do the grieving while I'm by your side. I said